This goat VTuber Umekaitu stole illustrations from an artist, Yube. The studio he hired to make his VTuber model is accusing him of lying to them, disrespecting their artist, and mistreating their members. The artist he stole from even revealed that the VTuber Yube refused to settle things in private when called out for stealing art, instead doubling down and choosing to give excuses when the original artist, Yube, was trying to forgive him and offer solutions. As a result, the VTuber community called Yube the art thief out for his blatant disrespect for artists. Welcome to the Terra Nebula channel, and today we talk about the art thief VTuber Umekaitu. I think you can understand the main problem here. It is wrong for a VTuber to make his VTuber model based on stolen reference images. Artists are the lifeblood of the VTuber community. As VTubers, we need artists to make our emotes, stream backgrounds, and most importantly, our VTuber models. Without artists, we would not be able to be VTubers. It is in our best interest to have a good working relationship with the artists we commission. The VTuber community is incestuous and relatively contained, meaning it is small even though it looks large. Run afoul of one artist and the rest of the artists within the VTuber community will shun you, alienate you, and choose to reject any commissions to make your VTuber model for you. Forget concept art, they won't even let you use their illustrations as reference for your VTuber model. So, it is expected for a VTuber to be nice to artists. Unfortunately, in this case, the opposite was true. Instead of respecting artists, this one VTuber would choose to not only disrespect the studio responsible for making his VTuber model, he would also steal artwork from another artist, Yube. The name of this art thief is Umekaitu. Everything began when this goat VTuber Ume decided he wanted to have a VTuber model made for him. He, like all of us, was useless in making art. Ume went through the usual processes of commissioning an artist to make his VTuber model for him. Very normal, very understandable. He even chose to use an established VTuber modeling studio called DG Studio so he could have a peace of mind that his VTuber model would turn out great. The problem began when Ume provided the reference images for his VTuber model. DG Studio, the VTuber modeling agency, was initially suspicious of Ume's reference artwork. They even asked if the artwork was original. It was not an original, by the way, because Umekaitu stole the art from another artist called Yube. The goat VTuber chose to lie and say that the art was an original when it clearly wasn't. DG Studio did not detect any falsehood and chose to make the VTuber model for the art thief. This was a wrong choice because people found out Umekaitu had stolen his art from another artist and called him out for it. The backlash was immediate. Over 2 million people saw the tweet calling out Umekaitu the art thief. Many began dogpiling the goat VTuber for stealing art. Meep Sheep, the original poster, would say, "This needs to be brought to everyone's attention. Umekaitu has recently revealed their VTuber model, but the design is completely stolen from this artist. I was amazed at how good it looks and reached out to Ume to tell him this, but I see no credit to the original artist." Someone else would say, "What baffles me is you steal design, spend all this money for the model, emotes and art, but you think you're not going to get caught? They spent all this money for literally nothing and got themselves blacklisted. There is a very hard lesson here." Solvai would say, "I've been designing characters for a very long time, and here's my not exactly professional opinions. While it's not 100% stolen, it's clearly heavily referenced, getting into uncomfortable territory. The horns are a different shape and color, the ears are different. It's not stolen entirely, but a lot more heavily referenced than what most people are comfortable with, so I can understand why people are concerned." Neo would say, "The art was stolen. The original illustration itself was used without permission on Ko-Fi and stuff to advertise, and he actually asked to buy the design from the artist before, and they refused, but he still went ahead and took the design for his VTuber." Hitori would say, "Yeah, I don't think you can even argue that their design isn't plagiarized. Outfit might be different for the most part, but the character itself is virtually one-to-one. Strange thing to do in a space so interlinked with the artist space." Mix would say, "To the people saying the design isn't exactly the same, the silhouette is almost identical, and a passing glance looks like the same character. If I hadn't read the text first, I would have thought this illustration was just art of the model." The situation got so intense, the artist Yube, who had his art stolen from him, responded to the situation, revealing that he had actually reached out to the goat VTuber in an attempt to make peace. offering solutions to the problem, even going as far as to say he only wanted the flower and grass accessories on the left side of the head and the golden accessory on the right side of the head to be changed, or simply to change the design to something else entirely. If Ume made the changes specified to his pre-debut VTuber model, the artist was willing to sweep things under the rug and say nothing publicly. Ume, the art thief, had a chance of redemption and opportunity to get off scot-free. At one point, the artist showed his kindness and generosity by offering to buy the character design from the art thief to reimburse Ume, but still stressing he could not sell his illustrations to Ume. And how did the art thief, Umekaitu, respond to this gesture of goodwill? Complete betrayal, disrespect, and absolute selfishness. Ume spat at the artist he stole from. The art thief Ume would refuse to change anything. This is a response which Umekaitu has deleted. Thankfully, a kind soul provided this record for all of us to see. The art thief would say, "Unfortunately, I am unable to change the design. I apologize if it looks like a similar design. Despite that, it is not a copy of your design. I did a bit of research on design creation and saw that some people will claim that the designs of simple accessories are their own. For example, gold accessories and flower accessories. However, one cannot lay claim to the design of accessories like hairpins, cat ears, hats, tails, and accessories, etc. I can understand that this might cause some annoyance for you, and I would like to apologize first. But if this is just because the leaves and flower accessories are similar, I do not plan to change my design. I will think about changing parts of my design moving forward. I cannot delete the model. Thank you for your understanding." By the way, these are the designs that the artist wanted the art thief to change. You can see the new model on the left and the original illustrations on the right. And you can see the flowers and leaves located on the hair are very similar. What made this entire situation worse was the artist Yube, who was disrespected, was relatively established as an artist in the VTuber community. He was commissioned to make artwork for the YouTuber Kagemaru with 69,000 subscribers for his 10th anniversary as a content creator. Yube was also in charge for the art for Tsukasa Itsuki's music video, which looks incredible by the way. He also drew the wallpaper for singer Aru's membership rewards. You can see Yube bragging about his artwork right here. The person who commissioned the artist, Yube, was Aru, a singer with more than 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He was the second singer of the V-singer duo, Elbemuth, which had 15,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Yube was also in charge of the wallpaper for Asu's membership. Asu is a VTuber singer with more than 400,000 subscribers. Just imagine how accomplished as an artist that you would have to be that such a large VTuber singer who gets millions of views on her music videos is willing to commission you for art. You can see the person who commissioned Yube, this girl called Asu, has many music videos reaching into the millions. 1 million, 1 million, 1.2 million, 1.2 million, 2 million views, 2.8 million views, 4.7 million views. And guess how many views her highest viewed music video is? 7.7 million views. These are the types of people commissioning the artist Yube for art. And imagine the audacity of the thief who was willing to steal art from such an accomplished artist and still expect not to get caught. By the way, I haven't even finished mentioning Yube's accomplishments as an artist yet. Yube's work was also featured in the mini-book, Drawing Composition for Illustrations and Manga, released on March 2024, last month basically. Yube was also in charge of the main visual illustration for the Blue Fruits exhibition at the Iron Art Store on January 2024. Blue Fruits is a metaphor for boys and young men. Illustrations where you can admire the seriousness as young boys devote themselves to basketball literature, as well as the smile boys have when they pet a dog. It honestly baffles me how the art thief thought he could get away with stealing from an accomplished artist with large clients like these. You can see the artist didn't need any handouts. He didn't need any recognition at all. He didn't need to make art for this thief, and he didn't need his art to be stolen. The artist was doing fine on his own. How anyone thought they could just steal from such a large artist without any consequences is beyond me. I don't understand what that goat VTuber was thinking when he stole the art. Now let's take a look at the VTuber modeling agency that was responsible for the VTuber model. Shouldn't they be held accountable for making a VTuber model based on stolen reference images? Well, in this case, no. DG Studio, the VTuber modeling agency responsible for making the VTuber model, realized their mistake and broke the usual customer privacy rules to call out Umekaitu for lying to them. The studio would also reveal things that would make the entire situation worse for the art thief Umekaitu. Apparently, Umekaitu was not the best customer to work with. DG Studio revealed the GOAT VTuber Umekaitu had mistreated their artists and broke several rules and terms of service while using their services. When people were calling out the art thief, DG Studio would reply in the comment section saying, "We are also the victim. Here is our clarification statement regarding the recent unsettling events linked to Ume, which have deeply shocked and disappointed our community." DG Studio would say, "Our studio has long upheld a principle of non-criticism towards former clients. However, the persistent disrespect and mistreatment that our artists have experienced from Ume over the past few months compel us to speak out. These actions have taken a toll on our artists mentally. It is presumed that Ume claimed the artwork as his original character from the outset on purpose. This suspicion arises from his initial consultation with our studio, during which he presented the contentious artwork as his profile picture. Furthermore, the design requirements he submitted were wholly based on this image. Admittedly, we only did a cursory Google search of the image that yielded no results, and after considering the client was using the image as his profile picture across multiple platforms, we did not suspect a thing. Regrettably, throughout our engagement, Ume frequently breached the terms of service by insisting on minutely detailed and stringent revisions under the guise of perfectionism. Despite our repeated well-intentioned reminders about the violations of our terms of service concerning nitpicking, he continued to demand overly meticulous adjustments, emphasizing his critical nature towards artistic work. Moreover, his specific request for us to follow exactly the head hairstyle and headpiece details from his profile picture were clear indications of his intent to base his model on the original artwork, which you can all see right here. DG Studio would continue to say, "We deeply regret the creation of this controversial model and extend our profound apologies for the lax oversight of our reference material verification process. Moving forward, we commit to rigorously verifying the origins of all references, especially those pertaining to character designs, ensuring detailed citations and evidence to prevent any forms of plagiarism. DG Studio stands vehemently against all forms of plagiarism and unoriginality. We are dedicated to respecting and protecting the legitimate rights and copyrights of content creation within the community." So now we add more rules in the TOS and fields in the form for keeping the copyright safe. Thank you for listening to our statement. We appreciate your understanding and support as we strive to maintain the integrity and creativity of the environment. This was a horrible situation and many people felt pity for DD Studio and even more hatred for the GOAT VTuber that caused all this distress for the art studio and the artist involved. We had Ririko saying, "I'm sorry you had to go through so much trouble for someone like him. Is there anything you plan to do about Ume's model? Will he be able to continue using it? Even if you accept to make paid revisions for him, I still feel he was very disrespectful to your team and other artists, and the original model was based on deception. It doesn't seem right even if it were to be revised." DG Studio responds with, "I'm sorry since the model has been sold and we also don't have the copyright of the original image. We can't stop him from using that." Another VTuber would respond positively to DG Studio's statement, saying, "The most respectful and worst statement I think I've ever read. Thank you for being so amazing with this, truly." To which DG Studio would say, "We sincerely appreciate that." Henlock would say, "Here's the thing though. You and the artist did your best to backtrack the image the best you could, and you did ask if the image was copyright safe. He blatantly lied that he asked for the usage right. You guys made such great models. This wasn't on you." To which DD Studio would say, "Thank you for your understanding." A pre-debut VTuber would say, "Is there a way to ask for the artist and confirm with the artist from now on? You guys wanted to believe your client regarding these things. You did your part by searching the artwork, but now it might need to go farther. This falls on him. Thank you for your transparency." The studio would reply, "It's a pretty tough problem. I mean, What if it's just like this time that we even can't find out who the original artist was? That still means we have no one to ask. But if so, maybe we can just refuse them when they post in the forum. Another VTuber would say there's trust between clients and commission. It's nobody's fault, but to be honest, your job was to make it and his was to follow your TOS. Hopefully, people will respect artists' work more in the future when commissioning people. That's all we can ask from this. DG Studio would also provide screenshots that proved Umekaitu's horrible personality behind the scenes. DG Studio showed images Ume submitted to the studio, verifying the art thief's use of the stolen work on his profile picture that blinded the studio from the truth. Discord screenshots show Ume complaining about the mistakes, like brown lines on the hair, the side ponytail on the right, and the left side hair part behind the ear that should have a shorter outline like the top hair of the model. The art thief would also complain about pixelation on the flowers and small earring outlines. DG Studio would have to explain the flower request was insane as the resolution was not unlimited, saying that the artist's computer couldn't support the work to make the lines less harsh and dark, clarifying the artist wasn't even able to control the tiny pixel as the pen brush itself was far bigger than the flower pixel. Ume would continue to nitpick despite these explanations. DG Studio had to say Ume's requests had broken the rules and the studio's terms of service, going as far as to show a screenshot of their regulations. Ume kept forcing himself on the artists, who finally tried to give him one final change. Despite repeated well-intentioned reminders about the violation of the terms of service and constant nitpicking, Ume continued to demand overly meticulous adjustments, emphasizing his critical nature towards artistic work. When the studio talked to their artist, they showed a screenshot indicating that the changes Ume mentioned was a tiny dot on his layer, seen here on the artist's screenshot of his big 32-inch screen with 4K resolution. The problem was just too small to be noticed, let alone worked on. According to DG Studio, the art thief was nitpicking way too much. DG Studio also reveals proof they did ask Yume if the art was stolen. DG Studio would ask one more question before taking on the commission, asking Ume, are all of your references copyright safe? I mean, if we completely follow your reference, wouldn't it be a little too similar to the original art? Ume would respond by lying. For the sheep reference, I did ask them on Twitter. They are a Japanese artist. For the rest, I haven't asked / found the artist. But as an example, changing to a similar skin color or eyes is okay. I don't think it can get copyrighted. Another artist unrelated to this dumpster fire would come out to reveal some bad experiences when working for Umekaitu in the past. The artist in question, Mito, would say, seeing this honestly doesn't surprise me, referring to Ume's art thief allegations. I had an unpleasant interaction with them as well last year. They commissioned a YCH from me and were basically asking me to change my art style, saying things like, can you make the bangs look one-to-one to my model? Which, as an artist, I found a little disrespectful. There were more things while working with them that bothered me, but I guess this stuck out to me because it seemed like they didn't respect me as an artist. The artist would show off Ume's disrespectful side in the Discord screenshots. Ume would say, I feel like the hair is a bit too light, referring to the illustration that Mito the artist created for him. Ume would continue to say, and I'd prefer to have it a proper and darker outline for the hair since it will not be visible if you use it on Twitch, especially the braided hair as an example. Also, is it possible to shade the hair like the artist / reference above? To which Mito the artist would reply, I could make the outlines darker, however I cannot shade like the reference since that would be changing my art style / shading style. Ume would respond by saying, alright, but yeah, besides the shading, I'd prefer the revisions I've asked. Mito would provide the revisions as requested, saying, is this better? To which Ume would reply, is it possible to make the bangs look one-to-one like my model? Besides that, the outline definitely looks better. And then the different hair shade as well. Mito the artist would say, unfortunately no, since you already approved the sketch and I already completed the entire emote, and again, I cannot copy another artist's art style. I drew the bangs in my style while not changing the design. To which Ume would say, alright, then it's fine like that. Another artist, Milo, would talk about his experiences with the art thief. Milo would say, Something similar happened to me. I made him an emote of a spinning car. He asked me for details when it was literally a 300x300 GIF. Therefore, they were details that could not be appreciated at all. As I say, I didn't take it too seriously, but it still seemed rude to me. Mito would respond to this saying, yeah, same. They asked me to do very small changes that wouldn't even be visible since emotes are supposed to be small. And even after all the changes and approval, they asked me to change the emote after it was finished. At the end, Umekaitu's reputation was in tatters. No one could trust him anymore. No artist wanted anything to do with him. Umekaitu, realizing he messed up, chose to flee the scene. Ume deleted his Twitter account and deleted all of his streams on Twitch. Ume the art thief is gone, never to be seen from the internet ever again. The moral of the story is to not steal art and pass it off as yours. In another example, external to the Ume situation, a Nijisanji VTuber UQ Wilson ran into a similar situation where he used a reference image for his VTuber Axolotl mascot without asking for the original artist's permission, only to apologize when the artist called him out for it, was a fan of his streams. So Wilson managed to get off scot-free after apologizing and taking responsibility for his actions in a mature way. In Umekaitu's case, the artist he stole from was not a fan, and with no one to run PR for him, Ume's fate was set in stone. He would lose his place within the VTuber community before his career as a streamer ever began. This was a case when a VTuber stole art from an artist and used it as a reference image for his VTuber model, hopefully for the newer entrants to the VTubing scene, as well as the older ones who are looking to commission newer VTuber models. I believe we can all learn from this and avoid this tragedy before it happens to us. Thankfully, my VTuber model was pre-made, so I won't ever run into this problem, and I bought the backgrounds for this video from Etsy. Hopefully, I won't get into trouble in the future for something similar. And that's the end of the video. If you don't mind, subscribe to the channel so I can provide more videos like this one. As always, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. This is Terry Nebula, signing out.